whenever I felt, like it was fine to walk on, but I couldn't really push off of it too much. Just seeing if he had the same complications that I did. And, they said everything was normal, so I didn't think too much about it.
How many offensive line snaps did you get last season after your injury when you came back?
Like 2, maybe.
Is it the Auburn game?
Yeah, I think so. It wasn't a lot.
And what's it like now then to be back in the mix? I know there's a lot of shuffling on the line, that kind of thing, but how do you feel like you're doing out there?
It's great. I mean, personally, I don't feel any difference. My teammates, I feel like they can see that. And, I think me being out last year allowed us to grow more depth. So that's only going to help us in the long run.
There's a lot of competition. How do you foresee, kind of things shaking out? I know Cade is, getting a lot of reps elsewhere.
That's a good question. I honestly couldn't tell you. We're splitting reps about even now, and Coach Pitt's got a good plan of what he wants to do, so he's going to do what he feels like's best, and we just got to roll with it.
Those one-on-one drills, we see videos of them, and they look like pretty massive. I mean, what is it really all about for you guys when you do those hit drills? Does it just get you fired up, or is it a pride or a unit thing?
It's like Coach Pitt says, we got to start the party. And, that helps us do it at the beginning of practice. So, going out there and hitting somebody in the head, if that's what it does, then that's what it does.
Jamari Sawyer seems like someone that's taking some strides. What are you seeing from him that you may be different from last year?
Jamari is unbelievably smart. He's got great football sense. He knows the game really well, sees things before it happens, and he wants to get better. Jamari loves the game, so he's going to go out there every day and do what he's asked to do. So I think that's going to be his biggest attribution, is just being a flexible player and allowing him to play multiple positions and excel at every one of them.
Are you back to your own self from that injury? Do you ever deal with it in practice? Do you still feel it?
I think I am. It was a little tough at the very beginning of the spring, just getting back in the field of things. I hadn't taken a full speed rep in probably 6-7 months. So it was definitely difficult coming back, but I think I got some of the rust knocked off of it now.
Why was it you were able to return on special teams, I guess, punt shield? I don't remember if you were on anything else, but why were you able to do that but not the first team?
Because I didn't have to push off anybody and, move a 340-pound man standing in front of me on that. I just had to sit there and take a blow, so they felt like I could take up space and keep the punter safe, so that's what we did.
Were you afraid at all anything that might happen on punch shield or anything?
No, you can't really think about stuff like that whenever you're in there. And, you honestly don't think about stuff like that whenever it's actually in the moment. But, looking back at it, I don't think that there was ever a time where I was just like, oh, I'm kind of scared to go in here because, something might happen. But I don't think that was the case.
I think you were also getting you were second team with a lot. So why were you just not 100%
No,
to be a
absolutely not.
first
You could see it when I practiced and, tried to run. There was still hitching my run. I was still limping real bad. So, it would have been absolutely pointless for them to put me in the game because I would have been more detrimental to the team than helpful. So, I had no problem with sitting out and allowing myself to get back to full health.
You mentioned going up against 340-pound man. I guess Jordan Davis, I think he's one of the guys I've seen you lock up with. Just if you could talk about his progress, and you've obviously gone up against some great D linemen. Where's Jordan at right now?
Jordan, he honestly might be the most improved player on our team just from whenever he first got in here, working on conditioning, extra stuff after practice. There was, right before spring, he was coming in every single morning working out 3 times a day in order to lose weight and get up the conditioning, that he needed to be at to be successful for us. And he's done it. There's definitely a change in his tempo of practice, seeing him running the ball, seeing him cover down and stuff like that. And, I think all that the extra stuff that he did that, most people wouldn't do. I think that he made those strides, and it's going to help him out.
Speaking of 340-pound men, what's your weight these days?
About 335.
335.
How many games were you on the special teams?
First 4 and then last 4, I think, something like that.
I think one of the teammates, I can't remember who it was, mentioned you were the fastest lineman on the GPS. If you looked at GPS numbers this spring,
we actually did look at them, and me and Andrew Thomas always kind of raced at the beginning of practice to get them up there a little bit. But, yeah, 300, well, I guess once you put pads and everything on, me and him's probably pushing about 350, 355, something like that. Him and I both are pushing 19 miles an hour, so that's not too bad. And that hats go off to the strength staff for that one, because that's who gets us in shape for that.
You faster than some of the position guys? I mean, is there been any talk about that?
Nah, I mean, we don't really pay attention. We just kind of see who wins it for the big guys for the day.
What
How
did
far y'all
you?
run, man?
Sir?
How far do y'all run when y'all do that little race?
Just 20 yards. Just a little sprint. Not much.
What did you do in the weight room this winter? What was that video of you? What was the weight? What was the rep? I'm talking about. I think they popped something up there of you doing. Was it squat? Okay.
Squat, power clean, something other like that.
I mean, did you do anything that numbers wise that topped your best or whatever?
Yeah, our power clean's definitely, I hit what I was been wanting to hit since I was in high school, pretty much, that 405 mark. Just because it's something that a lot of people can't do. And, I was definitely a little worried about it, coming back off of that leg like we talked about. But, once I got in there, started getting warmed up and stuff like that, everything felt like it was back to normal, no issues anymore.
Was that a record or something? I don't know if you guys
I have no idea.
Okay.
That Missouri game, I guess, was game 4. You started the last 5 games of your redshirt freshman year. Did it feel like it was almost at the worst time? You must have really felt like you were in a flow, you're really developing, and then to have that happen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was at a bad time, but it's one of those things that you can't control. So there's really nothing that I can, shake my head about or, be negative about. Oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. I just had to take it in stride and go where I went with it. So
I don't know if anybody around here other than Andrew can say they definitely have a starting spot ever with the way Coach Pittman recruits, but it seemed at the time were entrenching yourself, and then because Cade gets experience, Trey gets experience, Jamari's coming on, and Isaiah run. I mean, it makes every practice that much more important on the O-line. Try and have a role.
I mean, I don't feel like it really changes anything from what we've been doing, because we've always had great competitors here, great competition every day in practice. So, losing one guy and, having guys push up on him for competition, I don't feel like that's changing anything here.
What do you think of Trey Hill at center with Lamont? Had a lot of experience. How's he doing?
He's making unbelievable strides. Trey's come a long ways from being more vocal. And, last year there was a couple times where he just got thrown into the mix and he wasn't really ready for it, but he went out there and performed. So,
With all the success that you've had, how has your life changed on campus and back home in Toccoa?
That's kind of a hard question to answer, honestly. Obviously people can recognize me and stuff like that, but it's one of them things. At the end of the day, I'm still a small town kid, one way or another, whichever way you look at it, and that's what I'm going to be. I'm still going to go out. I'm going to fish on the weekends. I'm going to do what redneck kids do, and I don't believe that I'll ever change that, no matter whatever comes with it.
Some of that have to do with the fact that, I remember going and visiting you as a recruit at 15 years old, and, you weren't much smaller than you are now. Is it the fact that, you've kind of got that you've been known as Big Ben Cleveland for so long from where you're at, and everybody just knows who you are and what you're about?
That's kind of got a little bit to do with it. And I mean, not many families are blessed enough to say that they've had 2 kids play D1 ball. My brother playing 4 years baseball at Georgia Southern. So it helped build a name for our family, and I hope one day that we can reap the benefits of that.
Can you tell me about your boots?
What about 'em?
I mean,